You're welcome to today's edition of Prime Flash on My Media Prime with me, Audrey Zatsa. Tensions continue to mount in Buea following the death of John Monono, a wrestler and a member of the Nganya traditional dance. The population of Bunduma joined members of the Nganya Traditional Society November 15 to protest against the killing of one of theirs. Moki Regan on this report.
That was the atmosphere that enveloped Southwest Regional Capital, Buea, today 15 November 2021, after the killing of Monono John, member of the prestigious Ganya dance of the Bakri people at Bunduma, Buea. The report says he was shot dead by a gendarme officer on duty while members of the Secret Court of Nganya was carrying a cultural manifestation to clean their land in preparation of the forthcoming festival of art and culture. The corpse of late John Monono was taken to the Buea Regional Hospital as family members find it difficult to embrace the sad reality. 30 minutes later, the angry indigents of Buea took to the street with their laws but was intercepted by forces of law and order as the corpse was seized by uniformed men to be deposited back at the Buea Regional Hospital. The Bakri youth later blocked the main road of Buea as a sharp response to their cry, with ritual being carried out at the Independence Square of Buea. 2 hours later, the mayor of Buea convened a security meeting to deliberate the way forward, as it was all agreed that the corpse should be given to the Secret Court of the Nganya dance. At the Buea mortuary, the corpse was received by traditional rulers of Buea as they all marched with the population back to Bunduma.
Now we are at the Met Boulevard of Buea. This is members of the prestigious Ganya dance of the Bokwe people. The mortal remains of John Monono has been handed to them, and they are taking it back to Bunduma, where he was shot this early morning. Information getting to us that according to the custom and tradition of the Bakwe people, the corpse must be buried today. If not, calamity will befall the land.
They ended with late Monono John being laid to rest at their family compound in Bunduma. It should be noted that the other victim of the incident is responding positively at the Buea Regional Hospital.
And talking about the Nganya dance, which turned sour yesterday, November 15, after the killing of one of theirs, let's revisit what exactly happened on that day with Noraka Kebi.
The population of Buea woke up to another bloody violence this Monday morning, November 15, in which one person was shot dead and another seriously injured. Both the deceased and the injured were shot by security forces who opened fire on them around the Bunduma neighborhood in Buea, southwest region of Cameroon. My Media Prime Television gathered that the two men were part of a Bakri traditional dance group called Nganya, who were carrying out traditional rites. The body of the deceased, whose name we got as Monono John, has already been deposited at the Buea Regional Hospital mortuary. Meanwhile, the injured victim, Emmanuel Ikoke, was rushed to the regional hospital for medical attention. It is alleged that the dancers were mistaken for separatist fighters as they approached a gendarmerie checkpoint. The unfortunate incident this Monday morning provoked a partial blockage of the road as it was barricaded by the local population to express their fury, given the recent occurrences in Buea on Mondays. However, the barricaded roads were later opened, but there is no circulation of taxis, and most people have chosen to stay indoors to avoid unforeseen and unfortunate situations. It should be noted that the weekend has been characterized by bloody violence in the restive regions. In Bamenda, a 7-year-old pupil, Tato Brandy, was shot on her way back from school by forces of law and order, which provoked anger throughout the town as people took to the streets parading her lifeless body. In addition, one civilian was killed at Matazem, still in the northwest region, by alleged separatist fighters, and 5 security forces also lost their lives in the same attack. All this is still happening despite the fact that the painful memories of the 3-year-old Carol Louise, who was gruesomely murdered in Buea, still lingers in the minds of Cameroonians. The question on every lip is, how did we get here?
The National Communication Council met yesterday, November 15, 2021 in Bali, Douala. The meeting was to deliberate on cable distributors and audiovisual piracy ahead of the Total Energy AFCON 2021. Joseph Chebonken Kalabub said the president of the National Communication Council encouraged distributors to form a syndicate and a memorandum for further discussions on how to curb piracy in Cameroon. The senior divisional officer for Bui, northwest region of the country, has accused teachers in Bui of lending financial support to the separatist fighters in the locality in order to distort the functioning of schools. The information is contained in a press release recently signed by the SDO Mignon Gilbert, where he spelled out that since the start of the school year 2021-2022, teachers in that locality have boycotted classes, citing insecurity as main factor. To him, these teachers have collectively contributed money and handed to separatist fighters. The SDO in his communique has thus ordered principals and head teachers of the government, secondary and primary schools in the area respectively to provide names of teachers that have not been coming to teach for scrutiny and onward sanctions. On to these human interest stories, where family members of the deceased Sidonie Mani have gathered in Wamba, a neighborhood in Mabanda in Bonaberi Douala to mourn her. The 47-year-old Sidonie Mani died over the weekend after consuming a traditional medicine sold by a traditional doctor. Reports say the victim, who was a trader at the Mabanda market, was at her business center when the traditional doctor passed by selling his product. The deceased, after consuming it, started throwing out continuously until she gave up the ghost. Regular customers of these traditional doctors say before proposing his medicines, he cautions his clients on side effects upon consumption and equally advises those who have a hand in black magic to abstain from consuming the medicine. As at now, the suspect is being detained by the gendarmerie for further investigations. Presbyterian Christians in Douala headquarters of the littoral region, as well as other PC congregants across the national territory, celebrated the 64th anniversary of the church in colors. The celebration took place over the weekend, as on Sunday, November 14. Eileen Sama recounts the effervescence surrounding this celebration.
The groundbreaking event of the Presbyterian Church of Cameroon, better known as PC Day, had as high point the reading of the message of the moderator of the PCC and gathered Presbyterian Christians from PC Bonamusadi, PCSS Bonamusadi, Lendi, and Logbeso on the PC Parish Bonamusadi, where the 64th anniversary of the church was celebrated in splendor. The theme of focus for the event was Wake Up and Shine, drawn from Isaiah 60, verse 1. The chief celebrant of the day, the parish pastor of PC Bonamusadi, Reverend Ayok Jones Sepod, called on the Christians to be steadfast in the face of the Lord and the ongoing Anglophone crisis rocking the country, and to do ordinary things in extraordinary ways. But how symbolic is the event to the PCC? Reverend Jones Ayok Ebot highlight.
It's a day where the church became authentically Cameroonian, where every aspect of management of the church, every aspect of evangelism, every aspect of development, and the comprehensive well-being of the church was handed to us Cameroonians.
It is worth mentioning that the PCC was founded in Balinyonga, northwest region of Cameroon, 64 years ago, and PC Balinyonga came under attack in 2021, leaving the Christians in pain and sorrow. However, Reverend Jones Ayok lifts up the souls of all Christians at these perilous times with some consoling words.
It was an unfortunate incident that occurred in Bali, and that led to a loss of life. We have had the same experiences elsewhere in other communities where the church became under violent attack. Pastors have been shot, kidnapped. There are some political services that Christians in forests Church houses have been closed down. The church is neutral in our mission because our mission is for everybody and everyone. And for the church to come under such vicious attack, it is sad indeed. But we will not relent in our prophetic voice that at the end of the day, there should be reason to allow God's prescription of peace and love to prevail.
This year's celebration had its peculiarity, as the chairperson of the congregation, Elder Fongang Moses, points out.
The highlight, in my view, to this event occasion, they identified a family, an IDP family, poor and really in need, who could not even have a meal per day. So this committee took upon themselves to use part of the budget for this year's celebration to send 3 grown-up children to primary school, and secondly to provide some capital to the mother of the children to carry out some activity.
The coordinators of the event are satisfied with the results this year, as Tamuntan Joel, member of the organizing committee, explains.
We're thanking God that most of the things we planned for before this day and on this day, we're happy that it's coming to pass.
The event was highly animated by debate, quizzes, dances and songs by various movements and choirs, thanksgiving, praise and worship, just to name but these.
And on to our health page, World Diabetes Day celebrated every November 14/6 to bring to light diabetes or the concerns about diabetes and its impact on our health. The day was commemorated this year under the theme Access to Diabetes Care. Our health reporter, Bokengo Wadi.
Every 8 seconds, someone dies from diabetes across the globe, being the leading cause of blindness, heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, amputation, and probably early death. Diabetes is the response of excess or insufficient insulin production by the body.
Diabetes is a disease that occurs when your blood sugar is so high. It could also be known as blood glucose, which is your main source of energy that comes from the food you eat. It could be caused by this hormone known as insulin, which is made by the pancreas. This insulin helps glucose from the food you eat to get into your cells to be used as energy, but sometimes your body fails to do that. This insulin also helps to regulate your blood glucose level.
100 years after the discovery of insulin to help diabetes patients stay safe, millions of these patients are still unable to access the care they need. However, some signs for patients to watch out for include
things that can predispose you to diabetes. You have age. People who are age 45 or older are at a higher risk of developing diabetes. Someone who is overweight or obese, someone who lacks exercise, someone who have had illnesses like high blood pressure, and someone who have high pre-diabetes or gestational diabetes.
Worthy of note is the fact that diabetes can affect anybody.
We have 3 types of diabetes. You have type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. For the type 1 diabetes, your body does not make insulin. It usually occurs in children and younger adults. For people with type 1 diabetes, they need to take insulin for the rest of their life. That is every day to stay alive. For people with type 2 diabetes, your body does not make use of the insulin well. You can develop it at any stage. This is the most common type of diabetes. For the gestational diabetes, it usually occurs mostly in pregnant women, and it usually goes away after the baby is born. It could be caused by some hormones or basically lifestyle.
It should be borne in mind that over 50% of diabetic cases, especially type 2 diabetes, can be managed and preventable.
With the help of your healthcare provider, you can create a diabetes self-care plan to manage your diabetes. That you could follow your diabetes normal meal plan, that's which involves drinking enough water and eating more of vegetable. You can make physical activities a part of your daily life. You can also take your medication as prescribed, which is very important. Check your blood glucose level every day and work with your healthcare practitioner, which will go a long way to help you manage your diabetes.
On World Diabetes Day, governments are called upon to provide sustained care for patients living with diabetes and those at risk or more vulnerable, who happen to be the elderly ones above 60 years.
On this health report, we close the curtains of today's edition of Prime Flash. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Do not miss the rendezvous at 6:30 p.m. with Fon Quinta for more stories. Eileen Sama and her ladies are already ready for In the House. Bye.